Good morning. It's a bit dark, it's a bit early. How are you going today? Oh my gosh, that's so bright. I'm not prepared for this. It's so early. It's so early. Oh gosh. All right. I have a guest. But I'm not prepared for this. So but the guest is gonna wait for me in the waiting room until it's time. And unless I have headphones on, I can't really hear him. Oh. You can hear me. They can't hear you yet. So. Oh, okay. Apparently he can't hear me either. So there you go. Oh, great. All right. So you stay there because no one can hear you. So wait a moment. If I don't have headphones on, I can't hear you either. So there you go. Anyway, good morning. I don't know. Are you watching me on YouTube as well? Oh, I can't. You watch me on YouTube as well? Okay, but it will be confused. All right, I'll be back. Anyway, good morning. I've never done this before. Oh gosh, this is amazing. All right. So, before I bring my friend in, my surprise guest in, which is not Luiz this time, even though I've been threatening to bring Luiz into the thing. I will. Let me. Oh no. Alright, there you go. I will. Gosh, everything is beeping at me. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streamers. Ah, come on, stop it. It's great. It's wonderful. Probably, hopefully. I don't know. Anyway, so what I was gonna do today. I said I had an announcement. I mean, I have something interesting to say. What did I have? Yes, there's two fun things happening today. I'm gonna donate blood for the first time. Now, this is very. I feel like I need Noah in this conversation because he'll be funnier that way. It's like clapping. I'm just gonna have. Let's do this. Hold on. Wait a moment. Let's see if this is gonna work. Video call. Oh, look at that! It's perfect. It's amazing. Hello.
Whoa, this looks fancy.
Oh yeah, you can see me because of
Oh, I
course
can
this is
see
my
it.
webcam. Right. Hello. You're in. So
I mean,
I mean, I hope it's working on the stream. I have absolutely no idea if it's working on the stream, but it should be. Yeah. Anyway, so as I was saying, I'm gonna donate blood for the first time today, and I almost pass out when I have blood tests, so this could be problematic. We're gonna find out. I wanted to donate blood earlier, but you're not allowed to donate blood if you're under 50 kilos.
are you under 50 kilos?
Well, when I was a bit younger, when I lived in Brazil, I was like 49 or something.
That's fair enough.
So I don't know how 53 probably, unless I put on weight, lockdown weight, as people say. Did you put on lockdown weight, Noah?
No, I don't put on weight. Believe me, I've tried.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm like that too then. Anyway, this is Noah, by the way. Yes, great. you can't. I literally just woke up. I say this every time. It's just because I'm always in a weird state of mind in the morning. No. I wake up easily, but I have to explain because otherwise people think I'm weird. But I just woke up, so.
I think people think you're weird regardless, Carlos.
Oh, thanks. Wow.
Yes, woke up. The amount of
Wow.
you post like 10 stories a day. I think that people think you're
10 what?
like 10 different stories on Instagram a day.
Oh, but people post. Isn't that normal?
I mean,
Don't people do that?
I don't. I think most
Good.
people I know don't.
Yeah, good. No, that's good. Good for you, I suppose.
Yeah.
Anyway, so blood. So, yeah, by the way, I'm going to tell you how it goes when I donate blood. So there you go. I mean, I'll tell you in my YouTube stories how the blood donation goes. So go follow me on Instagram. You want to plug your Instagram? Follow Noah on Instagram. No,
At Noah Tibbles.
Yeah, to the one person watching, which is you probably.
No, it's not me. It's a friend.
It's your friend.
It's a friend.
How exciting. Anyway, other exciting thing is that, see, I haven't even gone on my phone yet today, other than just checking if I got a message, and there was a message from Noah. So Noah, I just woke up, remember? Theos University, Theos U, which is how do I explain what Theos U is? It's a Netflix of theology. That's how they explain it in their promotion videos. They do theological videos. They are short and easier to watch than, I don't know. It's just videos explaining theology. And they have a service that is kind of like Netflix, where you go and stream them. And they also have what is it called? They also have like a seminary kind of situation where people can learn. They get a certificate at the end. I don't think, but there's no, there is exams. I don't know what I'm saying. Anyway, they created they have a meme page called Theos U Memes on Instagram, and then they created a page for Calvinists because there's lots of Calvinists that go in their Theos U memes, even though they mock Calvinists all the time. So Calvinists are pretty resilient people, And then they asked me to run their Theos Calvinist profile. So it will happen eventually, probably, unless something happens. But I'm slowly creating some content for it, and I think I'm gonna make a video today. You heard here first. Wow, revolutionary.
There you go.
Wow. So I made a I don't know if they posted it yet, because the thing is I don't have the handle yet. So it's the Theos U memes person. I'm not sure how public it is, who it is. So I'm not gonna say anything here, who runs the page. But he's been posting for me, so I sent it to him. So I made a thing. Let's see, Noah. Let's see what do you think of this post. Where is it? Here it is. I made a top 5 theologians since the Reformation, because of course that is controversial.
Okay.
And if it's controversial, it's good. So here's a little picture. You can't really see. It looks good, right? And I made it with stories. No, I'll read it to you. I just want to show you the layout. Yeah, don't
Okay,
get I made it with Instagram stories. It was like super quick. he's just so editing. And it says this: top 5 theologians since the Reformation. Number 1, John Calvin. Do you think they should be in the top 5 since the Reformation?
I mean, if you're a Calvinist, they are. I mean, their name is in the name of Calvinists. So I mean,
listen, Calvin was it's everybody considers Calvin a great theologian, even people who are not Calvinists. But yeah, right. I think that tops it. Number 2, Jonathan Edwards. Have you ever heard of Jonathan Edwards?
no.
No. Oh, God, something unexpected happened.
What?
I have another guest.
Do you have do you have Luiz in here?
Yes, he's waiting in the waiting room. Let me just finish this meme, and oh no, and he needs to be here to discuss this. All right, hold on.
Of course.
The thing is, I designed a layout. You can see the layout. It's me and you.
It's
I
not
don't
gonna
have
be.
I don't have a layout for 3 people, so it's gonna be like, oh, I'm very concerned about this. Let's see what happens. His name is also disturbing.
His name is disturbing.
Don't read it out loud, Noah. Don't read it out loud.
Why will I get cancelled for it?
Well, I admitted him. I don't know what happened to him. Maybe he doesn't have his camera on. Anyway, continuing my list. He will appear eventually. Oh no!
Controversial. Was it?
Hold on. I'm not ready for this. Okay, what is this? Why don't you have a video on, Luiz?
No,
I mean, why don't you have
his video on?
Why don't you have?
He doesn't have a shirt on.
All right, I
You're
can't hear
mute.
you. You need to unmute yourself.
Yes.
What about you? Can just be a.
That's absurd.
You
What?
can just. Oh, it can.
I was muted all this time.
Yeah, you're mute all this time.
That's
wait.
ridiculous.
Okay. I don't have your video on. I'm gonna pin Noah and just have your voice.
You don't have my video?
No,
No,
because you're shirtless.
because you. It's.
Racism. Discrimination.
This is not racism.
Okay. All right.
Look, the thing is, right? Noah, he always complains that I never show up at the lives. And I was actually not gonna show up because I have a party to go. And I was gonna take a shower to go to the party. So now I'm about to
You're so calling from this.
I don't know what to say.
This is too much.
I don't know what to say. All right.
I never leave him speechless. This is amazing.
No, because you come. I mean, your name, which I'm not gonna say in the stream. By the way, I have Luiz. He's not gonna appear because
You mean that nigga?
Yeah, you can say it. Yes, that name. First of all, you already arrived at the stream with a name that I can't put on the stream, and then
You choose not to.
you're not wearing appropriate a Christian
I mean,
clothes for
but
a
I'm
Christian
black,
stream.
right? Usually that's how it works. I can't do that type of stuff.
Anyway, as I was saying, top 5
Right.
theologians since the Reformation. Number 1, John
Oh.
Calvin.
He puts Jonathan Edwards in this mix. You're such a
Jonathan
shame.
Edwards. What do you mean such a shame? I knew he was
I
going
literally
to.
finished pooping for that.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
Why did I need to know that?
good thing when YouTube asked me if this was made for kids, I said it's not.
I mean, look, if Lil Nas X is made for kids, I'm made for kids too.
All right, listen. Jonathan Edwards. Do you know who Jonathan Edwards is, Noah?
No, I'm not familiar.
Overrated nigga. Don't care about it.
Okay,
Okay?
stop.
Go for the
Please.
classics.
Please, Luiz. Calma, down.
Okay, I'll mute myself, but keep
No,
going.
don't
This
mute
is
yourself.
amazing.
I need your commentary. It's important. Okay, number 3, John Owen. He's confused. Or maybe he doesn't
Noah's
want
on
to
his path to reformation, bro.
I don't know. I don't know
years.
many theologians to begin with. Not
Well,
not dead ones.
that's all right. John Owen was one of the
Yeah.
Puritans. He wrote a lot of good things. And the Puritans, in a nutshell, were people who. So
Killed other Christians.
well. Well, yes. There's some of them are accused and probably guilty of that. But what happened is that the Anglican Church. What happened is, you know how the Anglican Church started, right? The king wanted to get divorced,
Yeah.
and then he created his own church and cut off from the Pope. He was not really that interested in the Reformation at all. He just wanted to get divorced. But then, when the what is it called? The Bishop of Canterbury, I think, he was really interested in the Reformation, so he took the opportunity to reform the church. But then the king changed, and then the other king was a Catholic. No, the other king was more reformed, and then the Queen Mary was a Catholic, and then killed a lot of people, and that's why she's called Bloody Mary. And then after that, there was Queen Elizabeth. Anyway, eventually, the Puritans were the ones fighting to get rid of a lot of the Catholic things from the Anglican Church. And then, oh no. This is very destabilizing. Luiz, I have to kick you out, and I'll tell you later why I'm kicking you out. Hold on. How do I kick someone out from the thing? Remove. Report to Zoom. No, I don't need to report to Zoom.
No.
Go. Anyway.
Okay.
I love Luiz. He's never gonna go. He'll come again. Anyway, what was I saying? Anyway, yeah. So the Puritans were fighting to make the Anglican Church more reformed, and because I think it was doing Anyway, but because whoever was the king or the queen at the time, racist. I'm not. That's not why I took you out of the stream, and I'm not gonna tell everyone because of the reason. Because anyway. So the thing is, the Catholic Church, not the Catholic Church, but some of the people in the Anglican Church hated the Puritans at the time, so they made some stuff up about them because they wanted to burn them. So some of these things about, and a lot of them died. Some of these things about them killing people is, some probably happened, but it's arguable. Anyway, John Owen, and then number 4, D.A. Carson, which I think deserves a place in the top 5 because he's a great theologian. And of course, you heard of D.A. Carson. And then
Yes.
number 5, R.C. Sproul. And that one is probably questionable. Not because Sproul is not a good theologian. It's just that in the top 5, it's tricky. It's tricky to get top 5 theologians. The reason I put Sproul is because he made Reformed theology accessible to people. That is the reason. Not necessarily because he was one of the greatest theologians, but because through Ligonier, he was. That makes sense, right? Great.
Yes.
All right.
Great list.
I'm still stunned by what just happened.
Yeah. How did he show up in the live in the shower? That's my question. Why? Why?
Oh, Luiz. I can't even. I can't. Anyway, anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to read from the Bible
Good idea.
and change our situation. So let me transition to the Bible. It's just I haven't done this before. But we're gonna read from Isaiah, chapter. Even though you're not in, your video is not appearing, people can still hear you, Noah. Where is? Let me open my Bible. I run Logos on Mac because it doesn't run on Linux, and I'm streaming from Linux. And then I do screen
Wait.
share. Screen share. It's fascinating.
Are you using a Hackintosh? Or are you using both?
No. I'm using a Mac, but then I look at logos. I put logos on the screen on the stream by doing screen share from Linux into Mac. So I connect to the Mac using screen share, and then I have logos. So it's very slow. Can you read it on Zoom?
Yeah, but I've also got it put up in front of me.
Oh, great! Look at that. Anyway, so I'm gonna read today. The advertisement is that I'm gonna read from it's justice and the gospel. I'm gonna read from a verse that people love, including people I strongly disagree with their opinions, and then we're gonna discuss. Isaiah 61. The Spirit of the Lord is on me, and Jesus read this in Luke, as you can see here in the footnote.
Mm-hmm.
The Spirit of the Lord is on me, because the Lord has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives and freedom to the prisoners, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor and the day of our God's vengeance, to comfort all who mourn. And I'm gonna read the whole chapter. I just want to say some things. So in Luke, maybe we should go to Luke. Let's have a look at Luke chapter 4. Oh, I open another one on the side. Sure, okay. Hide my Hebrew. All right. So this is Jesus. He walks in the temple, right? And that was after what he was doing. That's when he began. That was after he went to the desert and was tempted and all that. And he begins his ministry. And he comes in, and he says this. And he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up. And as was his custom, he went to the synagogue on the Sabbath day, and he stood up to read. So, and the scroll of the prophet Isaiah was given to him. He unrolled the scroll and found the place where it was written. So he's just there to read the scripture, and they gave him Isaiah. And he found, it was not an accident, he found the specific place. And he said, and then he read, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to proclaim the good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim liberty to the captives and recovering of sight to the blind. So to set at liberty those who are oppressed. Now, this is from the English Standard Version. And I was reading before from the Christian Standard Bible. But the reason why it's a bit different is because this was copied probably from the Septuagint, which is the Greek translation of the Old Testament. To set at liberty those who were oppressed, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor. And he rolled up the scroll and gave it back to the attendant and sat down. And the eyes of all the synagogue were fixed on him, and he began to say to them, "Today this scripture has been fulfilled in your hearing." Which is it's quite a claim to make. Right? Now, people take this and they read it and they think, oh, not people, but some people, a small number of people, get this and think, look, the gospel is to go and free people from poverty and to proclaim freedom to so on and so forth, and to do all these practical things. This is the gospel, because this is how Jesus started his ministry. However, if you read this in context, it's not about that at all. So let's read the whole chapter, right? To provide for those who mourn in Zion. Oh, okay. Now let's talk about Zion specifically. That's interesting. To give them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, festive oil instead of mourning, and splendid clothes instead of despair. And they will be called righteous trees planted by the Lord to glorify Him. What is he talking about Zion here? Well, when he's talking about Zion, he's referring to God's city, Jerusalem.
Isn't it true that in the New Testament it refers to something different though? Like when it's referred to in the New Testament that it refers to God's people.
Oh, right.
I could be wrong.
Right. Yeah, right. So this is a prophecy for Jerusalem, but it's a prophecy that has eschatological meaning, because obviously Jerusalem is now us. And by obviously, I mean, it's not that obvious to everybody, but if we keep reading, we'll see how very eschatological is this. But the festive oil instead of mourning, they were mourning. Why were they mourning? They were mourning because God was punishing them because of their sin. In fact, the whole book of Isaiah is about sin. Even the part when it says He was pierced for our transgressions.
It's still that sin.
By His stripes we're healed. The healing there is not physical healing. It's talking about healing from sin. So a lot of people take that passage to mean that, to say that we can be healed because of that passage. I'm not saying that God doesn't heal people, but that's the wrong context for that passage, because that's talking about sin. Anyway, moving on. They will rebuild the ancient ruins. They will restore the former devastations. They will renew the ruined cities, the devastation of many generations. Strangers will stand and feed your flocks, and foreigners will be your plowmen and vine dressers. But you will be called the Lord's priests. They will speak of you as ministers of our God. You will eat the wealth of the nations, and you will boast in their riches. In place of your shame, you will have a double portion. In place of disgrace, they will rejoice over their share. So they will possess double in their land, and eternal joy will be theirs. For I, the Lord, love justice. I hate robbery and injustice. I will faithfully reward my people and make a permanent covenant with them. Their descendants will be known among the nations, and their posterity among the peoples. All who see them will recognize that they are a people the Lord has blessed. I rejoice greatly in the Lord. I exult in my God, for He has clothed me with the garments of salvation, and wrapped me in a robe of righteousness, as a groom wears a turban, and a bride adorns herself with her jewels. For as the earth produces its growth, and as a garden enables what is sown to spring up, so the Lord will cause righteousness and praise to spring up before all nations. Now this has, of course, it's a prophecy for Israel, but in fact, a lot of the book of Isaiah, it has a fulfillment in Jesus, but even beyond Jesus. This is a text about the New Jerusalem, and about the ministry of Jesus. Because He said this was fulfilled in your hearing. That was Him. He's the one who came to do all these things. And rebuild the ancient ruins, restore. This is talking about, you could say, it doesn't specifically cite Jerusalem here. But the idea of Jerusalem, even building Jerusalem, it was God rebuilding the temple, or building the temple. The temple that was destroyed, the first temple, was in the Garden of Eden. And that was destroyed because of sin. Then God built a tabernacle. And they built a tabernacle because of what God told them to. And then they built a temple. And then the temple was destroyed. And then it was rebuilt. And then it was destroyed again. I think that's when they were in exile, right? Hold on.
Yeah.
Potentially. Don't quote me on that. But there was always this promise, if you go through the Bible, especially after the temple was built, there was always this promise of Jerusalem being this glorious city, a city of salvation, a city where you come and you are refreshed and renewed. That's a place where God is. But that was just it was just a shadow of what is to come, of still is to come, which is the New Jerusalem. And in the book of Revelation, and there's a book, what's it called? There's quite a few books actually about this whole idea of God restoring the temple, which was in the garden, the temple garden, they say. I think I'm a little reluctant to apply all the things they see, all the imagery they see. But I think there's a lot of imagery there that even when they built the tabernacle, there were lots of nature and garden imagery in the tabernacle. And when they built, and in New Jerusalem, there's a lot of garden imagery there because there's a tree, there's a river coming from the tree. It's kind of like a Garden of Eden kind of thing, right? So Jerusalem was always seen at that, but it says here, which is awesome, you will be called the Lord's priests. And if you look at the book of Revelation, it starts already by saying that we will be priests to our God. And so this is a very eschatological promise. But the point I'm saying is
when
that this is...
Sorry, when
Yeah?
it says priests, is it referring to like servants? Like,
Right. Let me get you. It's so hard to do this. Hold on. Oh, no, you see how hard it is. Now I have... What do I do? Zoom. There you go. Oh, there you go. Good job, me. So, the same people, this theory of the Garden of Eden, and which is basically, it's covenant theology, in a way. I think you can believe in covenant theology, but also but anyway, they say that God made a covenant with Abraham. Not with Abraham, of course, with Abraham. It's very explicit. With Adam and Eve. I'm not sure how much I believe that there was a covenant that God made with Adam and Eve. Because it's not explicit. It's never mentioned that God made a covenant with them. But even if you don't think that God made a covenant with Adam and Eve, because that would mean a covenant with the entire population of the world. I don't know what the terms of that covenant is, other than be fruitful, multiply. I don't know. This where is it? But the idea is that they were priests in the garden. They were priests and they were kings, and that's how in Revelation it says that we're gonna be priests and we're gonna be kings. It's actually a lot of prophecy, not just in Revelation but across, about that. But it was saying that they were priests. That will be priests, right? Adam and Eve were priests. They failed, and will be priests. What does it mean that Adam and Eve were priests? I think priests is more. It's this idea of you have this relationship with God and you worship Him and you bring worship to earth. That's expanding His kingdom, but that's also part of the kingdom part of it. That's what priests there mean, and I think.
Okay.
And if you look in light of Revelation and the rest of the Bible, it is talking about all of us, all of us, right? Will be priests, and yeah. But people take this text to mean to create the social justice gospel, which is not the gospel. But I was thinking yesterday. What was I thinking? I was doing grocery shopping, and that's when I messaged Noah saying, "This is what we're talking about tomorrow." But God hates injustice, right? And I'm gonna go back to the Bible. Hopefully this time, properly. Oh, look at that!
Nice.
As you can see, even in this text, but it says everywhere, God hates injustice. For I, the Lord, love justice. I hate robbery and injustice. Right? And then on the same page, the same verse says, "I'll faithfully reward my people and make a permanent covenant with them." So this is us. We're part of a new covenant, a covenant that is permanent, a covenant that will last forever, which is awesome. But you see, this is what the text is talking about. It's talking about this covenant. It's talking about salvation. It's not talking about a social gospel. But I think that's where a lot of conservative Christians get a bit wrong, because God hates injustice and God hates suffering.
Mhm.
Even though I am of the opinion that it will never get better. You're just going to get worse, 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 and then Jesus will come back.
Agreed.
Well, but there are people who think that Jesus will come back when he gets better.
Yeah, I know.
So, so it depends. It depends. There's different ways of looking at eschatology, but I don't think it will get better. It will just get worse. So there's people who work really hard and think, well, if we bring salvation to the earth, because they take the Lord's Prayer as, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven, as in we should be bringing heaven into earth. Which, again, I think it's a gross misinterpretation of that prayer. But, I was a bit confused.
No. I'm just thinking, like, because when I've read that, and it says, "Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as in heaven." I don't know in what sense they mean bringing heaven down to earth. But I've always taken that as, like, God's will is going to be done, like, on earth, and that means that we are going to be servants to Him, and that we are going to shine, the light. We're going to proclaim the gospel on earth, and then in that sense, we are not bringing heaven down to earth,
Right.
because that's not heaven. But
Right.
yeah.
Well, in a way, the kingdom of God is here through the church, but it's not perfect yet.
Yes.
But one day it will be. But I don't think it will be perfect gradually, as some people think it will be.
Hmm.
Like, oh yeah, the church is getting better and better. Eventually, it will be so beautiful that Jesus will come back. I don't think that's the situation. I mean, the church is always beautiful. God is building His church. But the real church, right? Because there's a mix, even within the church. You don't know who is the church or not. Like within the building church, the denomination church. You don't know who is the church or not. Because even within the church, there will be people there who don't belong to the kingdom of God.
Yes.
According to Jesus. Right. So He said. So, yes, I don't. So some people think that, oh yeah, no, you need to bring salvation, and the gospel is to lift people out of poverty, and the gospel is to fix injustice, and the gospel is all this stuff, which the gospel is not. Because the gospel is the injustice. The injustice is sin. That's the injustice. The oppression is sin. We're all oppressed by sin, and we all fall under a curse that Jesus came to break. We're all under this chain that Jesus came to break. He to give us freedom, as the text in Isaiah says, to make a permanent covenant with us, to bring salvation. That's what the text of Isaiah is saying, that Jesus read in the temple, right? But I think that's pretty easy to defend. I think people who believe in a social gospel, which is not the gospel at all, have a bad interpretation of the Bible. But my critique is to us, is to the conservative Christians, because we sometimes ignore, in a way, because we're so focused on the gospel, which is true, but we sometimes talk in a way that dismisses the injustice and dismisses the poverty. Jesus said the poor you always have with you, and sometimes we take that as like, listen, Jesus said the poor will always have with us, so whatever. Who cares? Which is I think it's bad and detrimental to helping people who to fix injustice. I mean, this is a very long discussion, and I know it's 7:20 already, and we're gonna end in maybe 10, 15 minutes. But how can I say? Gosh, it sometimes we I think I was thinking more about conservative Christianity in America, for example, because people, it's all mixed with politics. It's hard not to.
Yeah, conservative Christians in America are interesting purely because they inflate everything with politics, and that trickles down to Christianity as well.
Right. So there's a lot of politics involved. Now, I don't think politics is bad, because
No.
we live. That's the thing with the democratic system. To be a good citizen in a democracy, you kind of have to be involved.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's an argument you can make. Like, if you need to vote and make your voice heard, if you think there's injustice, why aren't you speaking up for the people who are there's injustice and oppressed, quote unquote oppressed. I such a misused word that sometimes I don't even want to use it. But yeah, some people are oppressed. Yeah, oppressed by the circumstances and whatnot. But so we kind of are in a democracy. We kind of have to participate in a way, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as you said, because the two things are so infused, and the politicians who are more conservative and who are more Christian and who are more for Christian things, like against abortion, which is a very Christian thing. There's no that's crystal clear in the Bible. The Bible never actually mentions abortion. Actually, it mentions running out of time. Just it will end in 10 minutes. Upgrade now to how is it going to end in 10 minutes?
Oh, because you haven't paid for it.
No, but it's only 2 people. Oh, it's because of Luiz.
Oh, true. That is true.
Maybe. Anyway, this is our timer there.
We can join back.
Yeah, probably. But it's all right. As I said, it's all infused in politics. So the politicians, they are more pro-Christian, pro-Christianity, pro-freedom of religion, pro-freedom of speech. Are the more conservatives, are the Republicans, usually. Right? So if you want to defend someone politically who agree with you, will be the Republicans, who are seen as the people who don't necessarily care about the poor and the oppressed, because they are not for all these things. Although you could make a good case that capitalism has lifted more people out of poverty than anything else, and I think that's a very factual and good case to be made.
Mm-hmm.
But like with any party and any politician, there's always hidden interests behind it, and sometimes they take decisions to benefit themselves. Or corporations or other people. And I think sometimes we, more conservative Christians, overlook these things just because we really like everything else that comes with it.
Oh, of course.
The freedom.
I think that as I think as conservative Christians, like many, particularly in America, again, it's easy to start idolizing politicians. Like I think that, in fact, I think that conservative Christians probably idolize more politicians than what the left does,
really?
and what liberals do. Yes, I think so. And especially like in 2016 when we saw, they called them Trumpians because they weren't Republicans, but then they just like Trump because, I think that like you hear the way a lot of them talk about him, like is he like your idol or something? Like like I don't know. I obviously I haven't voted. I'm 17. I'll be voting next year. But if I were to vote, I would be voting based on policy and not entirely based on character, because there are a lot of character traits about Trump that I probably don't agree with. No, that I definitely don't agree with.
Right.
But then I see conservative Christians saying, "Oh, he's a great guy." Like, no, he's amazing. That I don't know. To me, it's just messy. I would never idolize it. I don't think I would. I don't want to idolize a politician like that.
Like, it's interesting, right? Trump is a particularly interesting situation.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, James. Welcome. Trump is a particularly interesting situation. Oh, by the way, James just joined. Probably, it's daylight savings in Australia, which means the time changed for everybody else. Apologies, I hate
Yeah.
daylight savings. So we've been doing this for an hour. You didn't miss much. I'm joking. Anyway, so yeah, the case with Trump is interesting because I think it gives a good example of what I'm saying, because he was a very conservative president and he did great things. I know that's a very, for some reason, that's a very controversial statement, but he did do great things. He was defended freedom of speech, freedom of religion. Oh, he's been lurking here for more than half an hour. Great, excellent. And he did great things. He definitely did great things. It was strongly anti-abortion, right? And vocal about it. And
Yeah.
there's just so many things you can say about his policies and his administration that was good. But there are also things you can say that were not so good. Some you can say they were maybe even, you can say bad. There was really bad things, right? His character trait as well. He's very offensive on Twitter or social media as a whole, so much so that he was blocked, except that he wasn't banned because of that. He was banned because of political reasons, not because of the things he wrote or the things he said. That's what they claim. They say, oh, this and that. No, but I don't want to go into that. That's not important to this discussion. But yeah, sometimes people overlook, as you said, they will, because he's bringing this agenda and this good policies that we like. Sometimes we stay quiet about the things that we don't, because unfortunately, I mean, that's politics. You can't go and criticize someone. It's one or the other. Like it's a very tricky situation with politics, because it's one or the other. And if you criticize someone too much, the other one might win, and the other one is worse. So sometimes you just have to. But it's, as you said, like sometimes people come and say, "Oh, he's a great guy. He's a Christian now." And look, I don't wanna doubt that someone became a Christian. But it's interesting. It's definitely interesting how passionately people say, go and defend someone, right? But then again, I haven't met him. I don't know. Maybe he's a great guy. He's a very smart guy.
And I don't know, especially whenever, you know, I saw a video of him, and it was him. I don't know. He went on and talked about God, and all these other things, saying that, you know, what you don't need is the vaccine. What you need is God, and you need prayer, right?
Is that what he
And I was
said?
like, yes,
That's
yeah,
funny.
yes, he said that. You know, which I agree with. I agree with. I mean, not that you shouldn't take the vaccine. That's an entire another discussion. Take the vaccine if you want. I really don't care. But you know, I don't think I can judge whether or not he's a Christian. But like, he could just be using it.
Right, it sounds very pandering to me. If now that you just told me what he said, that's like, oh.
Yeah, well, whenever he's saying like "God bless America,"
well, but that's an American thing to say.
Yeah,
God bless America is a very American thing to say. It's also.
But it's an American thing to say with taking God out of the equation a lot of the time for the sake of tradition.
Let me just address a comment. You can't help but see the hypocrisy in his pro-life stance, though. He was vocal on abortion, yet executed more people than any other U.S. president. Where do you draw the line? All right, okay, it's a very simple yet complex question to answer, because he didn't execute anybody. It's the states that, well, it's a federal law, but yes, he did allow people to be executed, people who were already meant to be executed for years. And that's my criticism of the death row in America, is that people stay there in the limbo waiting for a long time, which is, I think, is worse than being killed, to be honest, to being not knowing what you're. And another question, how much of his faith is actually just an election technique? And I think in politics, a lot of it is possible. I know. Yeah. And I don't know, it's hard to know. But back to the death penalty. Death penalty you can defend biblically because
You can.
I actually maybe you disagree with me, and that's okay. But God made a covenant with Noah, and He didn't make a covenant. He made a covenant with the entire population of the world. And in the covenant, He said, "I am not gonna kill people. I'm not gonna send a flood again." But God is so pro-life that He hates murder, and He told Noah, and that means us too, because He never canceled that covenant. That was not replaced by the covenant with Jesus. What the covenant that Jesus replaced was the covenant with Israel, which is I use replace in a, like the covenant with Israel is still there, but probably it depends how you see it.
We've got less than a minute. Should we rejoin the link?
Oh, does that
The
work?
timer at the top. Yeah, it works. So just rejoin the same link.
Okay, great. Let me go back to just my camera. Hold on.
Maybe end the Zoom meeting.
Yeah, cool. Anyway, so what I was gonna say. Oh, I don't even know what the link is. I will. I don't know if it's gonna work just as my normal link. I have to send Noah the thing. But I'm gonna answer that question because it's a good question. How do I even do this? Oh my gosh. How do I invite someone? I don't know how to use Zoom, so there you go. Oh, he sent me. Oh, copy invite link. There you go. This will work. Yeah, so anyway, Noah made a covenant. I mean, God made a covenant with Noah, and that covenant was never canceled or superseded. Hold on, let me send this to Noah. Where is it? There you go. There you go. Sending, done, sent. All right, excellent. So, God made a covenant with Noah, and that covenant was never superseded. God didn't replace that covenant. He didn't cancel that covenant. And in that covenant, He said, people who murder should be put to death, because God is very serious about life. That's how pro-life God is. And if you are that pro-life, and you can make an argument for forgiveness and that people should be forgiven, that's fine. But it's not unbiblical. Death penalty is not unbiblical, because God made a covenant with Noah, which is the entire population of the world, that He hates murder so much, because murder is a violation of life. God is the only one who can take life of an innocent person. No one is innocent. We are all under sin and we all deserve to die. So there's no such thing as an innocent person. But He specifically commended Noah through that covenant. And by Noah, it applies to the entire population of the world, that murder should be punished by death. So death penalty is not a conflict with being pro-life. In fact, if you are seriously pro-life, I maintain. And again, there's some caveats there, and a human justice system is not perfect. So I know it's problematic. I have problems with death penalty as implementation of death penalty. I don't have problems with it theoretically. I don't believe that covenant has ever been canceled or superseded or any of that. Oh, he's in again. Where is he? Oh, he's probably in a different link. So you wouldn't say that some of Jesus' teachings rejected the notion of retribution. Well, that's not a yeah, as Jesus, an eye for an eye and this for that, and yeah. Let me message him. Hold on, because he's in the wrong meeting. He'll come eventually. Oh, the tangent without me. No, the same link. Yeah, no, go to your email and go to... He'll come. I don't know where the same link is. That's why I couldn't go in the same link. Oh, it's on WhatsApp. I could just click the WhatsApp one. Okay, I'm already here, so you can come back. The thing is, it's not a... Jesus never canceled the covenant with Noah. He never said anything to cancel the covenant with Noah. The retribution... Now, here's the thing. Oh, he's calling me for some reason. I'm so confused. I don't know how to deal with this. He'll come and join the link. So he never canceled technically the covenant with Noah. Now the notion of retribution. Here's the thing: the Bible. Again, I think there's forgiveness. There is forgiveness in Jesus, and the most important thing really is our life. Is as the text that we read in Isaiah, Jesus came to save us from oppression from sin, and ultimately oppression from sin, so we can be parts of a permanent covenant and be in the rebuilt city. And this is a promise for the future, for salvation, for future eschatological salvation, which it's the entire reason of Jesus' ministry is salvation. And it's not salvation from our poverty and salvation from our life on earth. It has nothing to do with that. Although sometimes our Christian life, and I think it should, if you're a Christian, you want to help people around you, people in the church specifically, more importantly. And if there's someone in poverty, someone in need, oh gosh, okay, all right. Let me go into the other link, because apparently Noah can't join the meeting. Oh, hold on, it's not on WhatsApp. How did I send the link to him? Oh, it was on text. Right, okay, all right. Sorry, give me a moment. Give me a moment. We'll be there. Ooh. Oh, I have a meeting ID. Okay, so maybe I can just do that. Oh no, I just... Oh, I can just... Oh my gosh, I really don't know how to use Zoom, do I? It was just there the whole time. Oh man, this is hilarious. Hopefully he will appear. All right. So the question was the retribution thing, right? It's interesting because if you read through the New Testament, and even in the I mean it's a whole... Welcome back, Noah.
You remind me to my dad trying to use technology. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't know how to use Zoom. It's too hard. All right, there is no other. So as I was saying, the Bible is clear. Vengeance is His. It's not for us to seek revenge on people. You know, if I don't think it's right for if someone comes into your house and tries to kill you, yeah, you should try to kill them. Yeah,
yes.
don't, you know. But it's not for us to execute justice. That's why, again, the Bible is clear that in the New Testament, God has authority over everybody, all the kingdoms of the earth, and that's very clear in Revelation. Even it's clear everywhere in the Bible. But He is sovereign; His authority over everybody. And He instituted governments. He gave governments a sword.
Yeah.
A sword. Why is it a sword? To punish wrongdoing, to punish wrong. Just the idea of giving the government a sword already indicates that the government has the power to kill people who do wrongdoing. I'm against the death penalty for anything that is not murder. Although inside of me, in my revenge and maybe it's not revenge, but in, like, in my justice thing, I'm like, well, if you're a serial rapist, you probably should be put to death too. It's, I don't know. I don't know.
That's the thing. The reason why I'm not. I don't disagree. Okay, I don't disagree with Christians who think we should implement the death penalty. I disagree with non-Christians who think we should implement the death penalty, because I know that their reasoning will lead to a ton of things that are not just like, you know, an eye for an eye sort of thing.
Right.
It could lead to a whole bunch of different things. But the reason why I myself would not go advocating like, oh yeah, you know, I am pro death penalty, is because we're no longer under a theocracy, and that's I think it's dangerous to implement. Yeah, I think it's dangerous to implement a death penalty, and you know, government could misuse it in so many different ways. So I think that's my main opposition to it. But then again, you have to look at the Bible and say, like, you know, when it does say, you know, God has given the government the sword, is that just saying that he's given them authority to take action and to punish people, or does it specifically mean that he has given them the right to kill as punishment?
I think in light of the rest of the Bible, you can say that the sword also means, or specifically, I haven't studied that text much, but yeah, I think in light of the rest of the Bible, you can say that it gives the government a sword to execute, to kill people. I think.
Yeah.
I think you could say that. But I'm with you. Like, my opposition to death penalty, like I wouldn't implement the death penalty in a like, if there's no death penalty, I wouldn't defend it to be implemented. But I'm kind of my opposition to it is mostly political than it is biblical.
Yeah, agree.
Because biblically, you can defend it and you can justify it. And again, as James said in the chat, not all states in the US have the death penalty. It's a lot of the government in the US and in Australia too, funny enough, is very state-based. Yeah, I mean, the US is, I think, even stronger. I think you can do more things.
Absolutely.
It's state-based. Here is just the health orders.
Yeah. Yes, that's true.
Yeah, so, yeah, as you said, Noah, I think the state can misuse it, and it's dangerous. As you see in China, they execute people for political reasons, and they will justify it. That's the thing. I mean, if the justification for death penalty is murder, right? Let's just say it's murder. And what is murder? Murder is to kill someone innocent. If it's different than manslaughter. Manslaughter is someone comes into your house, shoots at you, and you really looks like you're about to die, and you kill them in self-defense. That's manslaughter, because you're not killing an innocent person. You're killing, or if you kill by accident, you know, you're driving a car accidentally, you kill someone. Unless there's not attenuation, but extraneous circumstance, like you're drunk and on drugs or something or whatnot. That can be you can be charged for murder in that situation, because it wasn't necessarily an accident. So it's like, if you have an intention to kill someone who is innocent, that's murder. Like killing a baby, for example, in the womb. That's murder. Anyway, what was I saying with this? Yes, so for murder, right? Let's say the reason is murder. Someone says, well, you didn't have a vaccine, a COVID vaccine. You're killing people. You're murdering people. Now you have some crazy person in the government that can use the death penalty for people who didn't have a vaccine. You see what I'm saying? It is a slippery slope. And in China, I'm sure that they justify in these terms. Oh, corruption. Corruption kills people. You're a corrupt member of the CCP, the Communist Party. We're gonna execute you.
Yeah.
You know, it's a very dangerous thing, and I agree with you. And I think in the US is implemented. It's implemented poorly. I mean, it's always implemented. It's never going to be implemented properly.
Yeah.
And that's why, you know, let me just read James, what he said. Those states that do have the death penalty have a higher crime rate in crimes that would call for the death penalty. The death penalty isn't a crime deterrent. Right. So does it even work? But biblically, you can defend the death penalty. I don't think it's a contradiction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. But what I was going to say is, and we can finish with this thought, back to Isaiah 61, is that there's a lot of injustice in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And the solution to the injustice is the gospel.
Mm-hmm.
Not just because before the final fulfillment of the prophecy in Isaiah and the things that Jesus spoke, not just because that fulfillment is in the future, and that's when we finally build the New Jerusalem, the ruins will be rebuilt.
Mm-hmm.
God will make a permanent covenant with us. I mean, he already did. If you're a Christian, if you believe in Jesus, you're already in a permanent covenant with him. It's not a covenant that will be replaced like the other covenants. It's not that will be fixed or redone. But that's the covenant. That's the final covenant. That's the covenant of salvation. And everything, the entire Christian and Jewish history culminates in Jesus. That is the most, I don't know, it's just, that's it,
Mm-hmm.
that's it. And I can hear myself distracted. Yeah, so that is it. This is it's the final fulfillment of that, and the injustice will end there in heaven. That's it. But that is not to say that as Christians we shouldn't be trying to also fight for that, and by fight I mean, I don't necessarily mean fight, but I mean just being, just loving people and obeying what the Bible says. Loving people, helping people in need, and living a life that is actually where your faith is not just your mouth, you're saying you have faith, but you live it. But not to the extreme that you take and say, well, the gospel really is freeing people from poverty. And
Socialism does that. No, I'm joking.
Well, not just socialists, but people see the state as their savior.
People do that.
And sometimes Christians want to make the state the solution to everything, when the solution to everything is not the state.
Mm-hmm.
It's us as the church. It's us living the gospel. And
yeah,
it just in a democracy, it's so hard, so easy to conflate the two things, because the power is to, people have power. That's the whole idea of democracy.
Or they feel like they have power.
Right.
They don't necessarily have power.
So that's the question, right? But he gives us the impression that, we need to be involved, and that's the solution. The government is the solution to all the problems, and we need to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it distracts us from
It's
actually.
not good for Christianity.
Yeah, it's a bit. I don't know. It's arguable.
I think that where Christians notably go wrong, because I don't think many Christians will be thinking about whether or not democracy is is good for Christianity. I think that's a very few people who will be thinking about that. But I think where Christians most commonly go wrong is where they conflate verses like love your neighbor as yourself, love the Lord your God, and the second is like love your neighbor. Like, you're summarizing the entire law into those 2 points, the entire 613 laws can be put into those 2 points. I was very wrong. I can see it on your face.
No, I actually don't know.
Okay.
I'm taking your word for it.
Yeah. Anyway, the Torah can be put into those 2 laws. But then I think where we often go wrong is not realizing that that's like on an interpersonal level. It's not on a covenant level. It's on a I'm gonna love you, and I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show Christ's the way Christ carried himself within myself. I'm gonna try and live like Christ. That's on an interpersonal level, not necessarily a governance level. Which I've had arguments with socialists and communists who would say that, oh, you're a Christian, you should believe in this, I am loving my neighbor. And it's like, well, yes, but also no. Like, government doesn't love their neighbor. Like, that's not a rule for government. It's a rule for us.
Right. I think there are policies that do. That's the thing. Like, the thing about politics is that some policies are good for people, some policies are bad for people.
Yes.
I think freedom is good. I think economical freedom is good.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I think capitalism is
good.
Well,
I don't think it's good. I just think it's the best we've got. I don't think it's good. I think it leaves a lot of room for corruption, like corporatism.
But everything. Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the word. Corporatism is the problem with capitalism, because a lot of the capitalism we have is not really capitalism, but it's corporatism, and it's the people who have money being in charge of things.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, that's why I think democracy is... We don't actually have the power that we think we do, because at the end of the day, it's a special interest in the people who are in power, who actually make all the decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they will give some things that we want. Oh, you want this law, this is good, are you happy? Okay, here, have this. But then they still have their interests and their stuff. It's all still winning, they're still getting their money and doing whatever.
They're in office for like 4 years, and they're... How stupid is that idea? You're appointing someone... I think you said it. Like, you're appointing someone every 4 years to a place, to govern a place that's not their home. Like, they can do whatever...
For sure.
No, you definitely said it. I could pull it up. I remember it very clearly. But they can make policies that benefit themselves and not look out for the interests of the people. I think it's just as stupid. I don't know who thought of that.
Well, that's why you have the 3 powers of government at least in a republic. In Australia we kind of do that too. So you have the Supreme Court and the legislative legislation branch and the executive branch, and they're all kind of in tension with each other, because they are auditing each other and making sure that they do the right thing. But sometimes, at least I'm thinking about Brazil here, the powerful people are not in the government. They are beyond, and I'm just saying, like, the point that we're never going to have perfect justice in this world. And as you said, the commandment to love your neighbor and to love God is a personal thing. It's an individual thing. It's not I think sometimes we feel like we don't need to help people because they already helped. I mean, how many times I've walked on the street and I see someone begging for money in Australia, and I think, well, there's no reason for people to be begging for money in Australia. Just go to Centrelink and get some money there. Like, what are you doing with your Centrelink money? Like, you see the mindset, and I'm already judging the person, because maybe they do have a reason why they're begging for money.
Mm-hmm.
But in a welfare state, we think, oh, everyone is already being looked after, and then if there's more poverty, instead of me thinking, hey, I should do something about it, the thinking is, hey, these people should do something about it, and I will post on social media and I solve the problem because I made a post on social media. When you didn't.
Mm-hmm. No, you did not.
So yeah, I mean, we can. It's easier to be critics than to fix the problem. So we can criticize all sides, but I think from a conservative Christian perspective, anyway, I think we said everything. Do you have any parting comments?
I want to say the intro, the one that I sent you. The welcome to Candid Conversations with a Calvinist. That was a great intro. It all rhymed. It was fantastic. You should use it.
Welcome to a candid. What is that? Welcome to
Candid Conversations with a Calvinist.
Candid Conversations.
I'm your
with
host,
a Calvinist.
Carlos. Dyonisio. Dyonisio.
Carlos Dyonisio.
Oh, Dyonisio.
No one knows how to pronounce my last name. Oh, thank you for joining, Noah.
It's a pleasure.
I'll thank Luiz for joining. I'm still pondering if I need to go back in the video and cut some parts off.
Yeah, I think you should.
Why does people make my life difficult?
I don't know.
You did really well for a live stream. Live streams are dangerous because it's live. And I
true.
like to keep my lives on my channel afterwards, so it's even more dangerous. But James said, and I'm gonna finish with that, Facebook cures all social ills.
Wait, excuse what? All social what?
Ills.
Ills?
Yeah. You know, like...
Ills?
Yeah. ILLS.
Like- Oh, okay, yeah. Like illnesses.
Yeah, but no.
No, it doesn't.
It's a joke, probably.
No, it
Surely he doesn't. Surely he doesn't believe that.
No, I hope not.
All right. Okay. That's it.
That's it. Go follow me
Right.
on Instagram.
What is Instagram?
I'm not. Oh, it's at Noah Tibbles.
Hold on.
I'm not as controversial as Carlos, so you
Whoa,
will.
Good. I'm actually
You-
trying not to be so controversial. I don't know. I'm not that controversial.
I don't think you're Okay. No, yeah, you are. I think you can. I think you can come across strongly. I don't think you're controversial, but that's because I agree with you on
A lot of
things.
things. So is
Yeah.
it Noah.Tibbles?
It's Noah. No, just Noah Tibbles, not dot Tibbles. I remember
Tibbles has
it's a
two
dot.
B's, right?
Yeah, 2 B's, 2 L's.
Two L's?
2 B's, 2 L's.
What?
Yes.
I didn't know
It's the weirdest last name anyone could ask for. I do not wish this last name upon my worst enemy.
that. My last name is weirder.
Yeah, but you're Brazilian, so you can get away with it.
Hold on, I'm making a thing here to put it on. It all makes sense in a moment. I just don't know how do I do this to make it more readable? Also, it's a terrible font. Oh gosh, let's get a better font. Geomanist.
Yes. Main summary is don't post on social media. don't try don't try and initiate justice on social media. I don't think it works very well. I think I've tried to do that in the past, and then I just realized that
Just be a Christian
It's-
and leave.
yeah, just
the
be a
Bible.
Christian and live. That's the thing. I think that social media has ruined a lot of things because like you no longer have things to yourself. Like friendships are no longer just like, you know, when discerning who your friends are, it's no longer just, oh, I think this person's a great guy. It's oh, what do they post on social media? Oh, hang on, I can't be with them because I'm going to cancel them. because of look at their ideologies, look at their beliefs. Like
My
I
friends
don't
are very
think that was
forgiving,
something. Pardon?
And my friends are very forgiving.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like people will not be friends with you because of your beliefs, and because now social media exists. People like you and I who post a lot about it, or you more so than I now. Nowadays, I don't post about it as much. You know, you can lose a lot of friends, and they're good friendships as well, but they may just disagree with you
Right.
on ideologies, which I don't think it matters. You know,
Yeah.
I think better was the time when people's ideologies weren't exposed to the world, when people could keep them things to themselves.
Yeah, right. I don't know. Everything's very judgmental. All right, there you go. There's your. Is that
That's my
correct? Is
outro.
your handle?
Yes, that is my handle.
I was gonna do
For
that.
the-
Like
for
a
the-
middle name.
For the one person who's watching this live, who's not already following me, go ahead and follow me.
Now it's too big. It's covering the name of God, so I'm gonna make it smaller. There you go.
Good idea.
Well, you see, I have lots of questions. I don't, we should end this, but here we are talking.
No, let's keep going.
Because I have the text in Deuteronomy,
Mhm.
where it's the Shema, which is a very important text. Shema Israel Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad, which is, hear Israel, the Lord your God, the Lord is one. Right? Is that what it says? Shema Israel Adonai Eloheinu your God Adonai Echad. Yes. So, and then I have the tetragrammaton, the name of God. And then I'm putting pictures on top of it. I feel like, oh, is this No, Jewish people don't even pronounce God's name.
Yeah, they don't even say God's name, which
Like,
is
it's a bit controversial, but I love that. I love that text so much. It's so.
Do you say God's name? No, you say God's name. Yes, you do.
Well, I
you
say
say
what
God's
I
name?
think is God's name, Yahweh.
Yeah. Yes.
Nobody really knows how to pronounce it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when I read that, I read as Adonai.
Yeah.
So Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. But
So when you're reading the Bible, will you read if it says the word Yahweh? Will you say that,
sometimes I
or
do.
you just say?
Yeah.
Okay. So
But
it's not something that you.
That's a traditional. It's a tradition when people read that text, they replace with Adonai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course.
Anyway, go follow Noah. And,
Yes.
And I'll see you next time. My kids are gonna wake up soon. I have to feed them. And then there's school and all that stuff.
The obligations of a parent.
Thank you, Noah, for joining, and thank you everyone for being here. See you next time. Bye.
See you next time.
Oh, hold on, I'm doing the wrong thing.